Okay. Why did I just Control V? No, I just need to hit enter. That's it. That's all I need to do. Yeah. Yeah. Exciting. Oh boy. That doesn't even feel like that long ago a week, if I'm being honest. Of course, it also wasn't as hard as it's going to be next week, so that could change. No, that will change, because it's going to be hotter next week, and I just like heat. It was hotter yesterday, though, so I guess technically speaking. First off, that's why you didn't get a stream yesterday, you get it today. Yay! You didn't get it earlier because, you know, well. Okay, you might not. Partially just the whole recovering from the stream before, which is... I could just blame autism, honestly. But... not the most... I don't know how to phrase this. Aggressively social person, I guess. That works. So... not the largest social battery. That's just how it worked out. It's getting better. And if it wasn't so hot, you probably would have got a stream earlier this week before this one, but also need something to talk about. Like, it's all well and good to say, like, oh, I could just get on and yap about whatever. But, you know, when I have to come up with a thing to talk about, and picking from nigh on infinite opportunities is kind of just exactly what I suck at. Not so much in practice. Yeah, it's not great. Video's a work in progress. Again, I recorded for it. Just had to spend a lot of time thinking about what the hell I wanted to do in terms of videos. Did I figure this out before? No, I don't think I did figure it out last time. So, for the moment, is there what I can do? Well, I say that what I can do. I know I can do one of them. The second one, I need to test. For multiple reasons. But War Thunder, specifically air battles, because ground battles are just maybe a little too obviously grindy, I guess you could say. They go too quickly, and then you just like jump into another one. It's not my preferred flow, if you will. Air battles are fine though. Also, I'm biased. I like air battles more. Planes. But hello! So everybody else, first War Thunder. Get back to that a second. I need to do this before I forget. It's on the first one. And the second one is Hello Loops. I just need to test and see whether it'll actually let me record while playing the game. And if I like the flow of that for recording, because that's why I'm not doing League of Legends, Valorant, or Deadlock. And there's another options. I don't know. I said or already, but CSD. Yeah, I could see shorts of that, maybe. Gameplay wise, I don't know. Mostly tempted towards like. Okay, so the three people that I figured out that I kind of like the idea of, like, recording wise is Was it General Sam, kind of Bazang? He's a League of Legends YouTuber. And Mighty Jingles, that's what it is, yeah. Which it's been a while. Yeah. He's not exactly new on the block, is he? General Sam kind of does a mix of post and live comm. Bazang is all live comm because he takes the footage from streams, so self-explanatory there. And Mighty Jingles is all post commentary, usually much longer in form with no editing. So somewhere in there lies my style of video. We'll figure that out when we get there. But didn't that literally die like 3 weeks after release? What do you mean gotta do Concord? Also, I think I might die of boredom doing Minesweeper because it's just cheat. Well, but not. It's kind of puzzle. So, probably not. But closer than I thought it would be to having potential, which is not something I expected, but here we are. I don't think that's dog fur. I can't even blame the husky. I don't know what that was. Whatever. Yes, it did. Okay, good. I thought there was some other poor game that was picking up the name, the flag curse thing, if you will. If I had the money, I'd be tempted to do marathon, but that's past even just having the money for the game because I think I would need a new PC. I haven't like deep dove into marathon system requirements, but it's a modern game, so it's a modern game that's not intended to run on a potato like League of Legends. So yeah. Can't run marathon either. Oh. Okay, well, it won't run on a laptop. Okay, general rule for at least streaming, less so recording depending, is you need about 2 times better than the specs that it says you need to just run the game. So it's very system intensive. I probably couldn't do that, even if I had it. A lot of modern games are too optimized. Yeah, because they rely on what is NVIDIA interesting? Not even just frame gen. Oh no, whatever. AMD has FSR, and NVIDIA's equivalent to that is the why they don't. DLSS. Oh, that's right. Yeah. DLSS 5, otherwise known as the Yossification update. Yeah, it's what everyone wanted. I love effects. FSR and frame gen on top. The funny thing is, and by funny I mean complete bullshit, I've noticed with FSR, a lot of the times if you turn on frame gen, it just completely borks the quality of the visual because there's just ghost frames. So you get outlines around the characters. I noticed this while playing NTE, so Neverness to Everness, which thankfully I can play just fine without frame gen. But kind of defeats the purpose, no? I'm doing honestly pretty decent. somewhat surprisingly, considering it's summer, but you know, it's not 90 plus degrees, so I'm rather enjoying life at the moment. You ignore the whole video situation. It's but I can't rush it because otherwise it's just self. That's not the right word. I had the word. The word is now gone. Basically, it doesn't work out so well because then I don't end up doing the period, and then it takes even longer. So I can tell you that it's War Thunder, and the running title is zeroing out the ledger. So you'll never guess what vehicle. You'll never guess. No, never. Don't look back through the older VODs. It's not. No, it doesn't matter. Nope. Zero clues. Anyway, I thought about Zomboid today, but then I also realized I haven't tested that even with recording, so I don't remember how that runs. Also, just better talking about stuff. But I do have an idea for a topic. Which, funnily enough, he brought up AI. Easy segue. Zomboid is too hard. It depends entirely on what you're trying to do in Zomboid. Because Zomboid's a really weird game, and that you both have settings that you can shift around. Numerous, almost endless settings. And also just where you go on the map can shift the difficulty by several hundred margins. It's an odd game. But if you just like, which is most of why I want Build 42, is you just chill in the countryside and eke out a living. You don't really run into hordes unless you get really unlucky. And you just kind of chill and vibe, which is the idea. So we'll see. But yes, our AI overlords. I don't remember what the hell I put in the description. Where was I planning to start with this? I don't know. That is interesting though. I know a lot of people will get really, really instantly upset if you start talking about AI and anything but intensely negative, but it has prospects. Did not read the description. Oh, it is arguably, technically, mostly there for VOD watchers. Not that anyone reads descriptions most of the time. Usually you get, okay, you have the thumbnail and title, and then you get like the first, let's be generous, 3 seconds of the video. And then if they're invested, they might scroll down to the description and actually see what you wrote there. Yeah, generative AI is the very, very complicated one, which is like, could technically be good, but the execution is not there. Like, wow, something that can help come up with ideas. Looks inside. Help come up with ideas by taking other people's ideas. That's a little bit of a problem. Just a smidge of a problem. but there's so much that you can do with it. And I think even within the medical field, technically, generative AI would be less of a problem, depending on what you use it for. Because you're talking about like trying to narrow down what could work as like cures, and you just want to like get a bunch of the obvious ones that won't work, but that you would take way longer to do by human hand. Just off the bat, that could work. You're still gonna have to check it because it's yeah, but you know, it would be especially stupid. Yeah, current AI not exactly Cortana. It's the disaster since it doesn't use it. Oh, AI in music. Oh boy. Yeah. I have a feeling they're forced to kind of nerf what they can do in terms of like copying voices and stuff, because that would be a nightmare. But yeah. Training it on everything in the world also makes it, yeah. Too many garbage variables, as it were. You need to keep it specified to what you want it to work in. But you can't go too narrow, otherwise it'll just not come up with stuff. And you'll just have to do it yourself anyway. Like Neurosama? Yeah, exactly. Currently, AI as it stands, sorry, future AI overlords, this is just true. They're just tools. They are a tool. It is a tool. In the same way that you wouldn't use a hammer to install your motherboard on a PC, it can also be used rather incorrectly if you aren't paying attention and using your brain. Plus ignorance plus boredom is something we call. Oh, yeah. No, not the social credit. Oh, damn. I'm saving up on that too. It's unfortunate. But you know, I don't hate it in and of itself as much as most people do. But there's definitely things that it's not great at. Mostly on ever. Because it's not great for companies with new ideas, because it depends. Because, like, for instance, what are they called? Games, right? The people who did Umusume did so well off of that worldwide release that they made their own division to figure out how to start using AI. Well, of course, that wasn't the most popular news, but if you think about it, it's not necessarily great. But as far as using it in-house goes, they have, if they use only their own IP, they have so much from that IP that they could actually potentially get something useful out of it. I don't know what, but at least they're not just stealing from other people. And it should technically, theoretically, streamline the process, which means more content sooner, which means they could potentially lower prices. Maybe they won't, but they could. So that's, maybe. But it's not amazing. However, AI is not exactly okay. There's some jobs that AI could fill. Very, very menial ones. But as far as tech goes, not really. It's just not smart enough yet. It's not capable enough to actually do a good enough job without being constantly babysat. So just you end up having to redo the work. Isn't great. I just make one of AI because it doesn't know anything about music. Yeah, that's the thing about music and also like writing. They're creative endeavors. They're not something that you can distill down to data points and numbers. And AI isn't sentient. So it doesn't feel, it doesn't ask questions, and it doesn't know how to quantify emotion beyond the baseline or however descriptive you want to be when you input the info into the model and whatever. So it doesn't do great with music or anything creative in general. It could like maybe put together an okay beat eventually, but it wouldn't be doing anything more than the basics of basics. And then there's still the chance that it probably stole it from somewhere else. So, you know, that's slightly problematic, as far as that whole thing goes. Which doesn't help me, because editing is still very tedious and boring, but how long would that take? Once people stop trying to shoehorn AI into everything, and it actually progresses a bit. AI specialized in video editing. I want to say like 5 years? For like a basic one? Because video editing, while technically creative, is more formulaic than just straight up trying to write a song or a script for either a movie or just writing a novel. The AI crash is coming. But the majority of things at AI, yeah. Because as much as they love shoving out AI data centers, infrastructure isn't really there yet to support them, especially for the outcome, what's output? What you get out of it. It's not great. What are we talking about? Very, very simple topic, you know, nothing huge, just a very light start off to the stream. AI, you know, nothing massive. Very light topic. Making money off investors that think AI is gonna slash costs everywhere. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Does not surprise me in the least. All of the people who are too old to really be in the know as far as technology, told by people who are in the know of technology that AI is the future and will be used in everything. And so they heavily invest in it because you should always trust the person telling you about the thing that they do as a living, as far as, you know, making AI, running that sort of thing. I mean, you would trust a car salesman, right? Like a car salesman wouldn't upsell you on a car. They don't have any vested interest in that. No. No. And Sasha Casanera. AI companies be working like a company from the 20s. Oh. Oh boy. Yeah, so that's like, you know, is that pre-industrial revolution, or is that like right at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution? I feel like that's kind of the beginning. Well, it's been a while. Just think about it. Yeah. 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 Where they build their AI data centers? Yep. In man, late stage capitalism sure is fun. I love extremes. Her industrialization was mid 1800s. Ah, right before the Great Depression. That's what it was. I don't know why I thought that that would have been the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. I think I was thinking of the wrong. My time frame was correct. I was thinking of the wrong thing though. I was thinking when you had all the like robber barons and whatnot running around. Just unregulated business. And well, unions came around. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is literally AI data centers are just literally the coal mines of generation. Except no one works in them. Laissez-faire economics in the 20s, which basically no restrictions on the corporations at all. Yeah, that didn't backfire at all. Nope. Nope. 2008. What happened in 2008? I was definitely too young to be paying attention to the news then. And I don't think that was the birth. I think that was like... No, that was a little early. It was like 2006 or something. One of the two. Anyway. Thanks. Yes. Greed. Lending people too much money in 2008. Fantastic. Oh, but what happens when they try and take out their money, you ask? Well. Well. Don't ask. They didn't count on that, I guess. Money does not grow on trees, nor does money appear out of literally nowhere. Yep. Funny how that works. You need actual capital to, you know, use and leverage. Crazy loans up in tons of lines of credit. I'm sure I don't quite grasp how bad that is, considering I literally specifically never got a credit card because temptation and all that. But it doesn't sound great. It sounds rather not great. Yeah, that's the asterisk, isn't it? Okay, pay back the money. Well, you see, there's a funny story. Can't. Awkward. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. Who knew? Is that like a reverse snake oil salesman? Because like a snake oil salesman would be trying to sell you a product that is completely fake. But if you're like pretending that you can afford loans and credit that you can't, and they just don't, then it's like, it's kind of the same. At least it didn't turn into a depression. There is that. There is that. I, for one, not huge on living through a depression. Not that I get a choice. They may crash, may have the potential to turn into a depression. But wait, it just depends on how the government handles it. Either gonna go really well or really poorly. Nothing ever happens though. Well, is a recession? I think that's just kind of a... Aren't we technically already in a recession? Or like the cusp of a recession? Which is just normal technically, but doesn't sound great. It's just still technically normal. These things work on cycles. Because people don't like learning history, I guess. They're doomed to repeat it, so you just... Woo, we're not paying attention to money at all, and oh, we have issues, recession, and then okay, we're going to be more responsible about it, and you get built back up, and then you go back around the circle, and it's great. I mean, you should take everything with a grain of salt these days, especially on the internet, but it passes the eye check, okay? Like, you think about it for a second, you're like, you know, this makes sense. Like, if I was gonna make a video out of it and present it like it was fact, I would definitely have to do more research into it, but as far as talking points go, yeah. I suppose the upside is that usually, funnily enough, now how would that work? Like, technically YouTube works based off of ad revenue, which people wouldn't be buying things because they don't have the money to buy things. But there would be plenty of ads for like essentials and whatnot, maybe? So they could still work out like okay for creators, I guess, technically. People don't have to actually pay for the content, they just watch it. And ad companies don't care as much because it's still good advertising. That depends. More videos, we want more. Okay, alright, simmer down. Still working on the whole ASMR side of things as far as the idea for that goes, but that's technically another channel entirely. And I haven't decided how connected I want those two to be, besides the name, which is inevitable because Ione Rosa. Yes, Rosa. It's not exactly the most elaborate of disguises. There's not a lot of distance between the two. Just my usual. Just rambling mostly, talking about things, just ASMR, so of course relaxation is like kind of the plan, but nothing fancy. I don't exactly have any props that I could really use. The mic's decent, but I wouldn't exactly say it's the most amazing. The thing that I wasn't sure about was using the model, but I mean, it could have worked. It's gonna take some like tweaking because I can't block the phone, which means technically the mic could be off to the side, but then it doesn't really matter because it works like leaning. It should be fine. Yeah, ASMR tends to be something people really like or really don't, because depending on the person, it could either just feel relaxing or it could technically feel relaxing, but also really intimate, because like whispering into someone's ear, as I'm sure you could imagine, holds certain associations to a lot of people. Those people probably go outside, so I don't know how much that's gonna apply here, but you know. All depends on the viewer base, I guess. But yeah, I've been told that multiple times, and yeah, I just wasn't ready to bother doing that, I guess. Still need to figure out the whole background situation. I thought I had a plan for that, but I don't remember what it is. Because I looked right now, I looked in Adventure Resolve, because I have... I think I can technically figure this out. Okay, so that's that one. Needs to go... image. Which for? Let's hide that for the moment so that I don't screw it up. Anyways, like I'm working with basic strips. That's part of the question, is like how exactly to do it. I'd at least want to have an idea of what I'm going to be talking about, at least moderately, because like having a topic helps. Where am I? I guess as long as it's in front of chat background, that works. That should work. Okay, so I need to remember where this is. It is in here. Screenshots. Which one of these? Does it matter? I could do that. Okay. Oh boy, that's very large. Did I block that? Kind of? Why can I see it through? Oh, I know why I can see it through. It's technically... yeah, okay. Below chat background. That works better. Okay, cool. Biggest fan of the feeling it gives the airs, but it's nice but not comfortable. Fan of being in chronic pain and uncomfortable all the time. Weird flex, but okay. Each their own. I thought I could change. Oh, I have to right click. I have to right click. And I can do fit to screen. There we go. So I have this, which I made a while ago. It's basically just a night sky. And works a little better if I make that disappear. Wrong thing. Like that. It's not a horrible look like that, but like that, yeah. Sorry, sky, spirit sort of thing. Yeah. I wanted to add like a shimmering effect, but I couldn't figure out a way to add that into Adventure Resolve yet, just what I use for editing. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. Theoretical, and they use Wright auditory simulation to create pleasant sensations. Yeah. Like, I know a lot of people use ASMR for relaxing before sleep and whatnot, which talking about random topics works for that. But like at one point I was thinking like, okay, do I want to like go into the more role-playing aspect of it and like come up with stories, character to play, but like don't have props, obviously. Also a VTuber, so a little more complicated. This is also another thing I want to do with 3D, but I can't do that yet, obviously, so that's it. Future, though. Future potential ideas. But that doesn't help me at the moment. But generally speaking, keeping it simpler is likely better. So that's the current plan. And then upscale instead of trying to go all out from the beginning and then crashing and burning and then taking, like, I don't know, just as a random aside, just random estimation, like 2 years or whatever to actually start getting back into it, making progress. That's not referring to anything specific at all. Don't ask how long the channel's been around. Nope, not important. If nothing else, I can learn. Eventually. I can learn eventually. I do my best. But the upside is that editing ASMR is mostly audio balancing, which isn't the most difficult. Huge and successful. Successful more so than huge is the goal. I know this may sound weird from the person who's currently streaming on YouTube. Not the hugest fan of being the center of attention. You know, I'm just weird like that. Likes entertaining people. Also doesn't like being center of attention for like hundreds or thousands of people or whatever. I'm not about to get on a stage at a concert anytime soon. Let's put it that way, for multiple reasons, mind you. But yeah. What did I do better as like a supporting character? It's my jam. I can provide random advice to the main character and maybe save them once or twice. Mentor figure sort of thing. But, you know, I don't need to be the one saving the world. That's, I don't know, need that kind of pressure, thanks. Won't I become the next Mr. Beast? For multiple reasons now. No. I've literally never seen any of his videos either, by the way. Not even once. I didn't even watch PewDiePie. I think my first introduction to PewDiePie was him being part of the cyclothon. And then I've seen like 2 videos of his since. And that was like 3 years ago? Something like that? Probably made quite an impression. Voices way better than others. Let me see. But yeah, that's something, play to my strengths, blah blah blah, whatever. It's a work in progress. One of which is I need to... I keep forgetting I need to mess with that. As far as the, like, mouth. It does smug really well, but, like, it tends to look smug when I'm, like, not trying to look smug, which I suppose is on par for foxes, but on theme, rather. I watched Mr. Beast until he got uber rich and started doing those money challenges. 2016 to 2018. I don't know the difference, because I've never watched his content, but I remember watching a video about him, sort of. Or at least he came up in his first video that did really well was something about like giving someone $100 and then turning it into like 1,000 or something. I don't fully remember the concept, but I think it was something like that. Which, cool idea. Good business video, technically. But not really the sort of thing that I watch. What do I watch? So we have some League of Legends content. Not Zwag, mind you. We have less Hell Let Loose content, but that's because there's very few people who do Hell Let Loose content. Other than like Fresh Break to Goods, who does mostly tank stuff. Watch less so, but was watching a bunch of. Oh, I was just watching it before stream. Well, what is his name? I can just check this. I can just check. Oh, no, I played England. I guess I'll check that out later. Oh, I've been watching a bunch of Zealands lately, so that's Football Manager. Which I did before, but then like stopped because I wasn't really playing it, and I still won't be playing it, but it's a good relaxing time. Well, mostly relaxing. Hello, please work. Please, please, please. Masked, right? Masked for Deadlock content. Okay, there it is. Do I watch VTubers? Kind of, but also not really. Most VTubers tend to do like compilation type content and to be very non-right. I'm aware of the irony here. Very non-regular releases of content. Because most of them just streaming, at least the big ones. I was watching a lot of Lime's VODs there for a bit, but it usually depends on what she's playing. That's Lime Malicious. I sometimes watch Bricky's VODs, and he does a decent amount of collab. He kind of only really collabs with VTubers at this point. I watch some of the Clippers ones. So let's see, I think they did mostly Krelly, and then also some Kumi. Heavenly, because of course he's going to be involved. Kumi. But not. I can't think of any VTubers who do like a specific style of content where I just watch their videos. I've seen some of Sunny's videos, but she mostly does React content. So again, I tend to watch stuff based on my current interests, which is usually how it works for most people. But my interests tend to shift because ADHD, and I just go in like cycles of stuff. So it kind of just changes depending on where I am in that. Oh, and Remy, right? He's not a VTuber, but he does collab with VTubers, sort of. But he mostly does like Arma or Sim-esque style videos, and same with Operator Drewski. So those I watch a lot of, but not. What do VTubers even do, like, video content? I'm like, what niche would that be? Because I know there's plenty of VTubers that I have no idea exist because I just don't watch that type of content. But it's actually kind of odd that I've literally never seen any pop up in my feed, come to think of it. You think it would, but it doesn't. Interesting. Very interesting. I take it from the question that you do watch VTuber content. Don't ask where I got that idea. That I couldn't imagine, but like made that click in my head. But you know, it seems like a pretty safe guess. I do not. Well, no, I just look stupid, which is pretty par for the course, really. I think Alto does watch some. I really need to figure out what the hell is going on with like the demographic of my viewers because it's very interesting. Blue collar, usually some sort of experience with the military in some one way or another. Has played either some sort of Riot product usually, and or at least some competitive tactical type game, whether shooter, MMO, and also D&D. I don't know how those all connect, but they apparently do somehow because it's a little too coincidental at this point. Weirdly enough, I think Alto's the only one who actually watches more VTubers. I don't know what Base watches. Anyway. I like to occasionally watch clips of Kumi, Heavenly, or Neurosama. Used to watch a bit of Neurosama, but not a lot. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like the content that most of the larger VTubers do. Or even the like large content creators for that matter. It's just not really the sort of thing that I watch. It's their ability to bore people. This is true. This is a thing that is true. And then you have, I mean, I guess the officers would probably fall under being nerds, right? Because college degrees, you know. Well, that explains D&D. I guess it does explain the military D&D connection. I don't think it really explains the Wright connection, though. Cool tech you can take it with that they do. Especially these days. And then depending on what branch you get into, you might have that more or less to play with. Guns are fun to tinker with too. Lots in Turkey in general, yeah. Guns are interesting. A lot of people just have an instinctual, like, gut reaction to guns. And I get a gut reaction at that. Then they're just, again, it's kind of funny to me. Because I'm pretty sure that if you were to equate it back to how people act in the Middle Ages, if you were to pull out like a bow and arrow or be walking through the middle of a town with bare steel, right? You'd probably get a pretty similar reaction. Or even just walking around with a sword in a sheath, right? Depending on what village or whatever you're walking through. You'd get pretty similar reactions to what people these days feel about guns, and yet you go to like a Renaissance fair or Scottish festival or any sort of thing like that, and it's like, oh yeah, just get like a sword for $20. Yeah, it's whatever. It's cool even. Plus, so archery people don't. Archery just doesn't get any attention. I like archery, but it gets a little complicated to set up space for them. Where it is survival military tools as well as other things like first aid techniques. First aid techniques is different. I don't think I've heard that one before. I could see it now. That's valid. We're like 15 people in a couple seconds. Yeah, but like if you're talking about the Middle Ages where the equivalent of like you have swords and cavalry and whatnot, they didn't have the concept of that. So you know. No worries, Joker. I'm surprised you're still. Oh, I guess not. It is another weekend. Holiday week. I don't even know. I lose track of holidays. For no particular reason. But yeah. Different times, different cultures, acceptable ways of thinking. Yes. It's just you have to like scale it relatively because obviously guns are much more dangerous than a bow and arrow. Theoretically. The potential is much higher to hurt people with guns than it is with a bow and arrow. But they both hurt. They're both tools, which technically anyone can learn to use. But yeah. It's just interesting. Because then, you know, obviously tech is going to improve. Would guns ever, like, fall into the realm that swords and bows and arrows do these days? Like something that's just a recreational thing you do on the side because they're not all that threatening comparatively to whatever else we have? Don't know. Your guns are pretty rare in my country. If you have one, you're either a weirdo or you're up to no good. There's that too. It depends on where in the world you are. Because like in the US, obviously, they're more prevalent. Theoretically, that won't change because even if they made guns illegal, the criminals would still have guns, which is why it's really dumb to even bother trying. But the cartels are right there. I'm just saying the cartels are right there. And then there's Canada, but you know, changes nothing. Then you got like Europe where they're rare. Nope, I'd ending. Probably, I'd assume they're rare. I'd imagine they're rare. I certainly don't hear anything about guns being prevalent in India, but I don't know of anywhere else that they're like super prevalent. Maybe Africa. A little more, a little less higher government oversight, I guess you could say, is like an awkward way to put that. Guns are not rare in Eastern Europe. Yeah. Interesting. Never really put like a difference in my head about like Western versus Eastern Europe, but I guess especially we're talking about like the southeast of Europe. Could sort of see it. But not so much the UK. Had a lot of guns and lots of corruption, plus complete collapse of governments. Yeah, that'll do it. And that's how you get boxes and boxes of 7.62 ammunition just sitting around in places. I wouldn't recommend shooting a lot of it, depending on how it's been stored. But it's there, technically. And yeah, I don't know, you'd think that that was the reason why they don't ban guns in the US, but they still try. They still try. And then every once in a while, stuff will happen that'll be unspecific about for reasons that you do. And then they'll drum it up again. Even though, to me, logically, criminals don't care about laws. And the people who are doing illegal things with guns are criminals. So they'd find a way, because there are plenty of unregistered guns. Depending on where you live, you don't have to register them. You do if you're in California. But still, California gun laws, I swear. Russia in general has had a profound impact on Eastern Europe and single-handedly shaped their culture. Yeah, Soviet Union did do that. The USSR had a rather large power block in Eastern Europe. I know, shocking. Well, don't know what that is, but alright. Older guns, yeah, because you can, even in like California, you get like grandfather laws and whatever. So it's a sort of thing which, if they were less obsessed with trying to take them away and more about maybe less keeping track of them, but at least making sure that the people who get at least buying new ones and whatnot are the sort of person who is, you know, trustworthy enough to have them, which is like there's a bunch of different, like you go through background checks and stuff for pistols, and if you have any sort of mental issues that would cause problems with that, like I think schizophrenia is on there. Yeah, that kind of disqualifies you for reasons that I feel are pretty obvious. But they shoot themselves in the foot with that sort of thing by just trying to take everything away, and then no one trusts them, and so of course no one's going to register their weapons if they don't have to. There's also the argument of, well, why would they need to know? There's only so much you can lean on, like, oh, but unsolved crimes or whatever. Like, okay, but what if someone was part of a shooting or whatever? Do they need to match the bullet to run home? I'm just saying. It's not a hugely common occurrence. More common than you'd like, but you know, it's not enough to justify wanting to keep track of every single one. Federal government looking at you. Hi. In Chile, owning a gun is like playing with fire. If it's not registered, it'll go to jail? Or if it's within reach. That one took a second. Ooh. Oof. Yeah. That's rough. California compliant arms race. Oh, California gun laws. So dumb. So stupid. I haven't even checked on it in a while. It's just so infuriating. It is so contradictory. There's not any way around it. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like you're back to like trying to regulate alcohol or like ban alcohol. It's the same thing. This idea is the same. If you were to just focus on regulating them sanely instead of trying to ban it outright, you would have a better chance of actually accomplishing something. But no. Politician's gonna politician, I guess, or something. More obsessed with looking better to the constituents who are terrified of guns and therefore like we should totally get rid of them instead of actually doing things that make sense. Yeah. But think of the children. See, the funny thing about think of the children is it's never about the children. No, it's never about the children. It's just, ironically enough, the children being used as by people who don't care about them because they could have done more in the first place. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, but just if everyone had a gun, everything would be fine. Yeah, that's also not obviously feasible or sensible, but we're back to talking about extremes and how I think extremes in general are bad. And it never will be. Nope. Because people in power don't care about the children. They're too detached from the children. There's a reason why anytime you see like career politicians in a show, right? They don't usually have the best home life. Just saying. Stereotypes are stereotypes. But much like myths, they have a foundation on something. Be the same as if you were like a huge one of our tech overlords. You run a massive business, you don't have a lot of time to do something besides running the massive business. Weird, I know. A centrist? I guess kind of technically. Unspecified political leaning? I don't know. Just not a fan of extremes, because usually, okay, I mean, if we just talk about politics, just as a general thing, on the far left you have communism, and at the far right you have fascism. I think we have plenty of proof that neither of those two systems do great, yeah. I think we can agree on that. Listen, you're a centrist. I guess by that definition, yeah. I have plenty that disagree with on both sides. So, the polite way of saying that I think most people are idiots, but yeah. It's annoying because I don't think even most people, at least as far as the politicians, believe in what just the one side, but they just pretend like they do because it's the in thing to do and they want to be powerful. Ultimate power corrupts ultimately. It's not technically the exact quote, but you get the point. Ah, fun. That's so fun. I know most people can't even talk about politics, which is why I generally don't talk about politics. I say, having talked about politics, I think, in the last 3 streams. It is admittedly an interesting topic with lots of interesting subtopics that no one can bother talking about because they just get up in arms instead, which is very frustrating, but you know, it is what it is. Ain't gonna change that on my own. Probably. I just jinxed myself, didn't I? I'm gonna reach round 100 in zombies today. Which one? Doesn't matter overly much, but like kind of matters. I don't remember which ones are the hardest though. I know some of the games were harder than others. I never bothered trying. I don't remember what the highest I reached was. I don't think it was maybe like 70 or something. I don't know. You know what they're called? Ah, classic. Best of luck. No. I think, yeah, 2019 Modern Warfare was the last Call of Duty that I had. I can't say that I'm upset about that, considering they haven't done great since. I believe we talked about that last time, actually. Not doing Verkrut. Verot? Verot. Germany, your language. This is a me problem, like, with pronunciation, but like, sounds cool though. Maybe also slightly sound angry a little time, but you know, it's cool. But yeah, I don't know where that ranks on like difficulty list. I don't know which ones were the most difficult. I just know some of them were harder than others because he was like, I think it usually came down to the maps and just how easy it was to train the zombies. Turned into McDonald's of gaming. Yeah, that's an accurate sentiment. That is a factually correct statement. That's fast food. Even fast food isn't necessarily bad. It's just that most fast food tends to go, wait for it, to the extremes of fast instead of the food part. They focus less on the food part, more on the fast part. Yeah. Yeah. Not great. It's not great. But here we are. Oh, speaking of food, I've discovered that I like BLTs, which I've just never had before today, apparently. But we have like a food delivery thing, not like pre-made, but they deliver ingredients and recipes, and you just cook it yourself. So good gluten-free bread, lettuce, tomatoes. Still don't know why they're called beefsteak tomatoes, but whatever. And of course, bacon. Solid. I don't know if I call it the like highest of gourmet heights of gourmet food, but you know, it's good. It's kind of like gives lettuce a reason to exist. Patty melt with tomato soup. If I have not recent, no, I don't. Oh, yeah, I've tried grilled cheese with tomato soup. Tomato soup has dairy usually, and grilled cheeses. Well, casein-free cheese isn't necessarily the best for that sort of thing a lot of the time. So, it's okay. But yeah. I think once before the whole allergies thing, I did try a grilled cheese with tomato soup. Liked it then, I think. But the cheese that I can use, or rather have to use now, is a little off on the texture and taste for tomato soup. Assuming that I'd find a tomato soup that doesn't have milk in it. Because apparently that's a thing. The things you learn with food allergies, I swear. Before that, you just like grab stuff off the shelves afterwards, you're like, I have to actually read all the ingredients. And then you realize what's in food 90% of the time. You're like, that's cool. I can't pronounce that, but I'm happy that I'm eating it. It's like torture. Can be. Dairy products are so good. I do miss ice cream, and I will say, I don't think they've started making ice cream with oat milk yet. Maybe once they figure that out, it'll be better, but soy or almond milk ice cream is not my favorite. As in, I don't like it, but I still get sorbets, so sorbets exist, but that's not dairy. But because there could be other connotations to calling myself a fruity girl. But I prefer fruit. I like fruit, so I'm okay with it. In fact, I'd argue that I would probably prefer, like, fruit pops over ice cream. That could be mostly ADHD speaking, though. But it's still true. But fruit and ice cream, It's coconut. What does coconut count as again? Does it count as a fruit? I don't remember. Is coconut a fruit? Basically, botanically speaking, coconut is indeed a fruit. There you go. Okay, so I've tried that then. If you can find a good Thai restaurant that serves coconut ice cream, do it. Instantly, without hesitation. And I say this as someone who can't have a lot of coconut or obviously dairy, so it's worth it. Pecans and nuts in it. It's a texture thing. Yeah, you get that. Okay, even for me, like mint chocolate chip. I like the flavor. I don't like crunchy, frozen hard bits of chocolate in the ice cream. The flavor's nice though. Cookie dough. Cookie dough was good. Cookie dough was good. I liked that. Can't have that anymore, obviously, even if I do have ice cream, which comes with consequences, but is technically doable. Completely agree. I've never tried one with the nuts in it, but I can't imagine that it goes much better than the chocolate chips would, because it's the same problem of it gets super chilled and becomes harder than it otherwise would be. But I don't love nuts in the first place, so... No, that's not a trans joke, but it could be, but it's not. Oh. Yeah. Thank you, elbow. Elbow. Shoulder. Whatever. Close enough. No, we don't have any spray. Such. No, we have a... Only fruit we even have is peaches. Look, I'm okay with peaches. They're fine. They're just not worth getting out of... no. I can't with the texture of peaches. Skins, first off. Okay, and it's not worth getting the skin off to get to the peach. It's just not. I can't slander its opinion. Okay, technically speaking. Saying. I didn't say they're objectively horrible, like, I'll still look at you somewhat akin if you're just raw dogging a peach. Because in the same way that I would someone eating pineapple on pizza, like, I'm not gonna say that you're a horrendous monster or anything, but I'm gonna give you a funny look. Objectively wrong. I don't think that's true, actually. I couldn't argue subjectively wrong, because it's subjective. But objectively, I can argue with being objectively wrong. Objectively. Because it's subjective. I do like peaches better than pears, though. Pears are... They don't really taste like anything. They just don't taste like anything is my problem with pears. Peaches at least have a flavor. Even if it's not one that I would chase after. And... two things that I just hate as far as tactile sensations go. Like, peach fuzz in mouth, on tongue specifically, and like washing wooden spoons in like cooking utensils. Just no, do not like. Not a fan. All my opinions are objectively right, meaning that you have to be factually incorrect. I'm just gonna look at you. I don't really have a response to that, so I'm just gonna stare. Judgingly. Darn karma hit you. Karma comes for us all, and I don't mean the League of Legends character, although she does. Oh boy, does she. Usually loses, granted, but you know, she'll be there. Depending on the... You know, sometimes seeing multiple ways that a sentence or phrase can be taken is not exactly the most useful. Yeah, that was probably fun on YouTube, honestly. Especially because I literally already have the box check that says not aimed towards kids, because it's. But yeah, so I guess technically, you know, a lot of people would prefer that she was coming with them like you know, the other way you could take that, but like, not gonna judge. Hate the character, very annoying to play against, but hey, you like who you like. She's not even objectively bad looking. She's just really annoying, and I can't disconnect that. It's just trauma, you see. It's just trauma. It never translates into text. Same. Same. Which is funny because autism. But sometimes, like, if I'm not doing, very weird, if I'm not doing something, I can generally suss out and recognize like a tone of voice. But if I'm doing something, my brain suddenly just doesn't recognize anything. So there'll be times I can't tell if someone's making a joke and it's like a dry, sarcastic joke, or if they really mean it. It's very frustrating. But then text, like, I can just context clue it. Like, if it was your first time in chat and you hadn't, like, spoken a bunch already, I'd have to wonder if it was sarcastic or not. But since you have, I can tell. Considering that I didn't do anything to, like, what wasn't a topic which would make this makes sense in my head. Give me a sec. Hadn't said anything particularly offensive. Let's go that way. It'd be like genuinely offensive. There's the sentence. Have to turn to Redditor saying slash s. No. 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 Not a Redditor. You could do worse than Redditor, technically. But so I won't say anything but a Redditor. But there's better options of things to become and emulate. I'm just saying. It was funny because I have a Reddit account that was like, I'll totally do something with this. No, I won't. Yeah, maybe do the whole. Yeah, I mean, it's low-hanging fruit, but it's there. It is still fruit. Oh, 4chan. I will never understand how that site functions, but I don't think that I need to, so that's fine. I'd say I need War Dogs to come out, but I wouldn't be able to get it at the moment anyway, so that really doesn't matter. Supposed to be super edgy online. Like, furries and transgenders. It still sounds weird put that way, but like, it technically makes sense. It just sounds weird though. And a lot of other stuff. Furries. Oh, furries. Yeah. Furries still divisive? Is that a thing? I don't know. Because, like, they kind of run everything. But then people still make a big thing over being gay 2026, so I'd assume some people do. Yes. the deep end when I was 13. Many such cases, truly. Especially in the age of the internet. Was it the opposite? Because we kind of have like more access to both sides. Whereas before the internet, you would only have access to whatever was in your local area and whatever those views were. So, I don't know. I think I would technically count as a furry. This is a thing which, unsurprisingly, I'm sure, as a VTuber who has fox ears, has come up a lot. I also just care less about that. Honestly, my whole view on that thing is it's just like, based on humans, kind of boring. Well, which is kind of just how I look at a lot of things. I like accents. Both literal accents and in terms of like ears and whatnot. Or tattoos. Tattoos are also cool. Yes. But what was it? I had a word. I had an entire sentence and it's gone now. Oh, piercings then. I don't know how I feel about piercings. Depends on where, I guess. Moderately pain-averse, says the person who played hockey, starting from like 10 years old up until like high school. Don't question it. Makes sense. You do not like labels? What? Labels are awesome. I mean, I've kind of accrued a lot of labels. I felt like it wouldn't be fair to take all of them. I should leave some to other people. I mean, I really left like racist off on the wayside and bigot. So I mean, like, I have trans, person of color, ADHD, autism, furry, I guess, VTuber, depending on who you ask. Whatever sexuality. What did I say? Omni? I don't know. I didn't know that was a thing, but whatever. The weird things you look up sometimes. It didn't seem charitable to like hoard more to myself. I don't know. Also, last time I flavored water. I still haven't seen Invincible. Or Red. I think it's also a comic, but you know, neither of them. No. I'm now. Did you know Pepsi Man was a thing? How? Because my sources of entertainment come from free sources. For the past decade plus. So yeah. So the Pepsi Man theme is now stuck in my head since you brought up Omni-Man. I didn't even know this was a thing until some random person I was talking with like months ago brought it up. It's so it's a full military. Of course he did. Hopefully that wasn't foreshadowing anything. As much as I like the cyberpunk genre, Pepsi Arasaka doesn't really sound great for the average person. For like a couple of days. I think the ability to post gifts. That's what I need. Because it would be my preferred gift of oh shoot, what even is the actor's name? But whatever, from Django Unchained, where he's like, you had my attention, but I have like, is it the other way around? It might be the other way around. You had my curiosity, and I have my attention, or something like that. I haven't used that gif in a while. I need to scroll down. You'll sold them a lot of ships when they collapsed in the 90s. No, so you had my curiosity. Now you have my attention. Well, that sounds right. Yeah, you had my curiosity. Now you have my attention. I was correct. Yeah, that. I'd post that. Quentin Tarantino. Horrible person. Great movies. Yeah. Oh shoot, what's the other one? All I remember is him dying at the end. Like reaching bait of them into like shooting him or whatever. I don't remember which one that was, but Jingle Chained is great. Kill Bill, when I finally got around to watching it, was good. What else has he done? I don't remember. I pretty sure. Oh, Inglourious Bastards, duh. Of course. He's a field marshal. Or was he a field marshal? I don't know. Still, great character. The Hateful Eight. Did I see that one? I think I might have saw that one. I don't remember it that much though. Never saw Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, I think I saw The Hateful Eight though. Or at least parts of it. Pulp Fiction? I think I watched that one with my family. I think we did see that one. It's a while ago though. It's an old movie. So, goes without saying. Love of Samuel L. Jackson. Many such cases. And I suck at names 90% of the time. Like, I'll remember the characters, but the names of the actor or actress, it should just be actress, whatever. That's, yes. We're back to labels, by the way. Or so. Nice. That's what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to look back on the chat at the last stream because, like, I forgot who you mentioned. Because all I could remember was Hatsune Miku, and that wasn't the recommendation part of it. Oh, that's another thing to remember again. But yeah, I suck at names. I suck at names. And yet, I definitely will remember Frodo and Aragorn and stuff like that. Don't try and figure out how my brain works. I don't know, and I've had plenty of time to figure that out. Or at least try. Because I kind of remember VTubers' names as well. Why can't I remember content creators' names? But not, like, actual people's names. What? I don't know. I have nothing. No explanation whatsoever. That's, very interesting, though. It's, like, moderately interesting. But whatever, not the point. Well, okay, I kind of did. It sounded familiar. I just forgot because I don't watch his videos. But I do remember before having gotten, why is this channel's name Penguin Zero? Because I don't think he's changed it yet. Pretty sure he hasn't changed it. I think the first time I saw it, I thought that it was some person named Penguin Zero making a video about Voice Critical. I was like, what the hell? What's going on here? And then I realized. Yep. Yep. Yeah. 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 Uh-huh. You know some things and you don't know some other things. That's just how the world works. It's all about learning. Which is good. Learning is fun. Most of the time. Not in the American educational system usually. But most of the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ignorance is bliss? Kind of. Kind of. It's also a little dangerous. And I think my least favorite trope in fiction is the I'm not gonna tell someone something because it'll hurt them and I want to maintain their innocence, and then they get hurt by it. Because, like, of course they do. You can't avoid something that you don't know is a problem. And yeah, it keeps repeating. One of those times where you want to, like, reach through the page and, like, strangle the character because they're being stupid. But if every character made perfect decisions, there would be no interesting stories. C'est la vie. Technically speaking, a character who you can like or dislike is a good character. They're a well-written character, though. It's the ones you don't care about or remember in the slightest that are bad characters. And that's what you want to avoid. Also hence me putting more personality in this whole thing instead of just... I have an agreeability stage, okay? Because, like, I don't like upsetting people, generally speaking. But you can't just be agreeable with everything, even if I'm pretty flexible on a lot of stuff. Just is what it is. Pretty memorable bad characters. Such as... Like, you're obligated to name them now. I'm just saying. Statistically, there are at least a couple. But I'm curious who you have in mind that's memorable. Is that... It's kind of when it comes as a bad character. Maybe. Maybe. Wasn't a great character. Still great. But you know. Temper Tantrum Sith Lord, not the most amazing. Okay, well you went to anime, so like I now can't participate in the conversation. That's cheating, arguably. That's just cheating. Yeah. I mean, I've heard the name Kazuma before, but I couldn't have told you where it was from. Or who he is, or what he looks like, or what he's done. But I am friends with multiple weebs, so, like, you know. I'm just saying. But, you know, I have very limited interaction with anime. Which recently has only been, and by recently I mean last year, rerun Solo Leveling and Uma Musume. Yeah. That's it. That's all I got. I guess technically Avatar, but the old Batman. Which one? Because I know there've been a lot of I don't have a frame of reference for most of them. I guess Bane and the most recent Bane, I think he's the most recent Bane from the Christopher Nolan movies, wasn't amazing. Memeable, but not amazing. Arguably, no, that was the Batman portion of that. But the Goofy one from the 80s, I don't know if I know that one off the top of my head, but yeah. Did I like Christopher Nolan's movies as far as Batman goes? Yes. They were mostly enjoyable. Still get slightly upset thinking about what Heath Ledger could have done in future roles as the Joker, but it's what it is. It sucks. Obviously, also him dying sucks more, but you know. But yeah. Arguably the entire plot of this was Dark Knight Rises, or I forget which one is which by name, but Bane and that whole plot was it was a plot. It was definitely a plot. It was a plot of all time. Yeah. Yeah. And then flying a nuclear bomb out over the bay and then somehow surviving. Then it's completely undone because then he's like just like pseudo sort of Gribble, but then not really Gribble in the next one. It's very dumb. Just very weird. Very weird. But the point is, Bane was not a great character in that movie. Who had literally nothing to do with like the Bane from the Bane. Wrong character. Wrong series entirely. Bane from everything else Batman. And whatever chemical he gets mixed up with. I'm almost surprised they didn't try something with Poison Ivy, but I guess he was sort of trying to ground it more. I guess? I mean, I didn't like fair. A lot of series tend to get a bit more outlandish as they go on. And it makes creating coherent, believable plot points a little complicated sometimes. But I think they could have done a little more. Yeah, I think they could have incorporated a little bit more of the like mystical side of things. I mean, they kind of did. They had Ra's al Ghul, literally. What am I talking? They literally had Ra's al Ghul. Again, I don't think we got anything major from like Mr. Freeze or we got Catwoman, but like nothing from Poison Ivy though. She was in the games. She was in the Arkham Knight games or Arkham Asylum series games. And the Riddler. Actually, why didn't they use the Riddler for one of the movies? That would have gone pretty well, I feel like. That'd be better than Bane. Yeah, instead of Bane, who's trying to blow up all of New York, why don't we just have the Riddler and Batman trying to catch him? That would have been better, I feel like. It's not like they could use the Joker because good luck. I'd feel so bad for whoever got cast as the Joker, and like if Christopher Nolan kept doing Batman movies. I guess technically the brothers kept doing Batman movies. It's, oh boy, would you get compared to Heath Ledger's performance? And that's rough, bud. Peak Batman is the animated series. They use the Riddler and No Swamp. It was very cool. Have I missed more Batman movies? Or are we talking about the animated series? Because I know there was a game like a few years ago, I think. Like 2 years ago. Didn't get to play that. And I think the Riddler's in there. But I don't remember how that game did either. James Gunn. James Gunn sounds familiar. I feel like I've probably seen him in a movie before. But I couldn't. People are judging James Gunn's DC Universe against a version of the early MCU that never existed. Why is Reddit? Reddit. Reddit. Can't we just have nice things? Anyway. Batman the Animated Series is peak Batman. Wait. Oh. Riddler's the most recent Batman. Okay. I've somehow heard nothing about that, which is maybe not the most surprising, but you know. Because his latest movie was mid. Gods forbid that not everything be a banger. Oh, people. People are never happy. I think if most people just took one attempt at trying to create even just like a solid YouTube video, they'd probably have a better appreciation for cinematography and how not everything can be a banger. And it's okay to release okay movies. I think it kind of might even be a strategy sometimes if you release a really good one and you have to do a second in the series, because you're just... you can't do the same thing over. You have to find something else to do and then do that well. Otherwise, it's just always going to be like, oh, it was okay, but it wasn't X. Whatever the hell. Games console to sell, though? Batman 2022. There was a 2022 high base. Sorry, I'm just realizing there's a 2022 one. I don't think I've seen all of those either. I haven't seen the newest one at the very least. Like, free media. Free media. Free media girly. That's what I've been doing. It's my entertainment sources. I know nothing. Unfortunately. But yes, hello, Basewine. Oh, it's been 2 hours. Wow. Time flies. So we have covered AI, recessions, and movies. That's a pretty normal spread, I feel like. The latest Superman was Awesome Superman. The title was Awesome Superman? Or was an Awesome Superman? That's either like one of the cringiest but like most comic book titles that I've ever heard of, or there's a... The movie was awesome. Okay. Okay. We missed a word. We missed a word. Happens. Typing it around. Yeah, better than I do. I types though as a general rule. It's just what I do. Love recessions? That's very weird of you, but I mean, valid. Do I want to validate that? I guess I can't invalidate it. Like, depending what you like about recessions, I suppose, but it's kind of weird. I keep making spelling mistakes. Gotcha. Well, buddies. golfing right now, so I'm gonna be slow to respond as well. I'm used to talking to myself, so this is still fine. Oh, I guess we also talked about ASMR. That did come up for a bit. Not rich enough to like recessions. Same, bestie. Same. I might also be poor enough not to know to see what your difference. Who knows? Zero income. Yeah, it wouldn't really much. It would change a lot, but also not much. Like I said, free media. Let's go. I can't just go buying a bunch of cheap Oh man. Yeah, my family does not have a good track record of taking opportunities when it falls into their lap. My grandparents could have bought property in Thailand, because my grandmother is Thai, which would have been worth like 2 million now, but they didn't. And my mom could have bought a bunch of stock in Apple, but didn't. I forget what she went with instead, but it's not really around anymore, so you could tell how that went. Me personally, I'm pretty good with my intuition, but I just don't listen to it a lot of the time. Making like 300 bi-weekly. I don't have a frame of reference, but it doesn't sound like a lot. The weird things that I look up while researching YouTube, though. I think the base average is like 36,000 a year, which sounds really low to me, but I, again, have no base frame of reference. So grand bi-weekly soon. Yeah, so 2,000 a month. Maybe 400-ish a year. It's infinitely more than I make. 400 a week is barely livable. Gotcha. Yes, I am more than moderately out of touch with some stuff. I make do. Barely, but I make do. 300 and livable. Was for their grandparents that would explain it. I think it was a time it was like everyone looked down upon living with like parents, grandparents, or whatever, but like then it just kind of unironically became an expected normal thing because of the housing market. And then jobs. Jobs, am I right? Jobs. Jobs. Yeah, that's great. Oh boy. Yeah. Fun topics. Fun topics. I know about AI that I do that though. I don't know if that's great, but I guess from a content creation perspective, it's probably fine. But yeah, because the years are just, what's the word? Meandering through life, I suppose, is one way to put it. Disassociating, right? Yeah. Doesn't do great. Wouldn't recommend it. But Here we are. Progress. Less progress than I want, but still progress. Hmm. Let me just talk to Raw Dog in with the background for the ASMR stuff. If nothing else, I've learned with content creation, at a certain point, this is true of like cinematography as well, I guess technically, you just kind of gotta send it. Because if you keep waiting for the perfect opportunity so you can do it perfectly the way you want, first of all, it's not going to go perfectly anyway. Let's be real. Second, you may never get to do it. You know, just kind of gotta do it when you can. So I have my star-ish background. And we'll work from there. You know, just gotta figure out script if I want to use a script for topics. I don't think I'm gonna do anything fancy. I'm gonna stick to not fancy. The theme should probably just reflect how I generally do things. Condemned with COD. Many such cases. What was I sentence? Oh no. ADHD, why would you do this to me, ADHD? How could you? Alright. It is. I tend to do things simply, but like, well. Like I don't do fancy, but I don't like do just the basics. But nothing fancy. So I guess I'll just go with that going forwards, which is a little easier with ASMR than it is with trying to edit a War Thunder video. Which is basically gonna be post-commentary from this point on, I think. I tried live comm. Maybe in the future, but not right now. Just be you. Yeah. Here's a voice I should have listened to when I gave it to myself years ago, but did not. C'est la vie. Yeah. Lazy as a go. To cheer up. That's not a sentence you hear every day. Happy for you. No Valorant. I'll give it that. It's no Valorant. I don't know if there's a single time I've played Valorant in recent memory where I haven't been some measure of tilted afterwards. League 2, honestly. League 2. Unless we're just lying to ourselves now. Time under pastime, really. I mean, sometimes you have to. I'm very good at it. It's not great. Oh. Just want to get good. Don't we all? I still annoyed at where I ended up getting placed, but it also kind of deserved, not really deserved in terms of my MMR being cooked enough to where it's instantly negative in terms of what like gains and losses. Okay. But I'm aware that I show up somewhat inconsistency because ADHD and I just can't lock in all the time because it's not challenging. It's like not a flex. This is more of just an annoying thing with myself. If it's not challenging, then even if I can technically do better than I'm doing, I tend to not because my brain just checks out until I have to lock in, which is usually like for a couple of rounds in CS or whatever, or like stretches of time in League. And then it's brain bored again, and so I turns off again, and then just hopefully the team is carrying. It's not great, but it's certainly a playstyle. Kind of suck at CS. A lot of people do, but what even is like the baseline for CS? Is that like 10k if you're talking Premiere? I don't know. Very inconsistent too. You know the struggle. My condolences. Not ideal. I partially blame mental health issues. It's an easy out, but it is an out. Not that's improving now. Rest in W, Q will mess you up a lot. Oh no, not another struggling wrist gamer. Oh. I mean, I have my mouse double click thing, but like, at least it mostly works. Tunnel. Oh. I don't think I've quite aggressively, knocked on wood, graduated to carpal tunnel yet, but my ergonomic situation is not doing me any favors. No, no. May arguably be like mild. I don't even know. Whatever. I need to remember to like actually move my wrist around a bunch, which is another reason to not play a game today. So you just have to caress it. It doesn't. Okay, brain. See, by virtue of like going to make a joke about like caressing usually being the way to go with a sort of thing, my brain then jumped to what even is that? Like post-fight sex, I guess, is the technical joke that my brain came up with afterwards. But like that's not the technical term, but like it's, you get what I mean. Sometimes my brain's always weird, but well, you know, it's not wrong. The problem gets worse. Okay, the metaphor is breaking down a little bit now, but yeah. Yeah. Relatable. Generally speaking, I just like when things work. I don't need them to be perfect, but I like them to just work. Speaking of things that have been annoying me lately, for no discernible reason, the bottom row of keys on my keyboard have just started randomly flashing different RGB colors with no pattern whatsoever. And I can't figure out why. It doesn't do it constantly, thankfully, because it's very distracting. But I tried fixing it, and I've given up on fixing it, because it just doesn't, like, even factory resetting the keyboard didn't work, so... whatever. Play a lot of casual, though, so I don't get too mad. I would argue that a part of the problem a lot of people have with ranked modes is they take it too seriously. Which, trust me, I get it. I get entirely too anxious about that sometimes. Just funny, because then when I don't, I play a lot better. But telling yourself not to be anxious is about as useful as telling yourself to, like, not worry about the bear sitting in front of you when you just randomly happen across it in a trail. Technically, yeah, it's not going to do any good, but you're also probably going to do it anyway. One of those scuffed setups. Just imagine that. Someday you'll upgrade. Oh dear. Something to look forward to. You also just graduate to, like, I guess mildly scuffed technically, but like we don't talk about that. It's fine. Mildly scuffed is fine. It's fine. Mildly scuffed is good. My phone situation is mildly scuffed. My PC situation is very scuffed, so like that doesn't work as a example. No. Oh, I have a very long list of things that I need. And by need, I mean that would make my life significantly less complicated. Yum. That's for the future. That'll also be fun though. It'll be nice. Things that you don't think to worry about when becoming a VTuber. Your phone's battery life. Yeah, they don't warn you about that one. It's a thing, but they don't warn you about it. You could technically use a webcam, I guess, but there's that whole like security issue with that in terms of if you do have a webcam, you should really put like a piece of paper or something over it. Like you could make a little hat of paper so that it's not like already like fully seeing you all the time, because that's this day and age, you never know. Every VTubers have a full motion tracking suit. That is the goal. That is the dream. Mocap. Have I mentioned that I love mocap? Mocap's so cool. It's expensive as hell, because I know, surprise, the thing that most people have no use for is very expensive to get stuff for. I know, it's crazy, right? But I want so badly. And then to do like the dream, which I believe I mentioned like half a dozen times, or to like several dozen times, one of the other is true, is to have like a 20 by 20 room with the camera set up so that it's like captured, and then just do mocap and like 3D streams and recording and all of that. Peak. That is the goal. That is the goal. Obviously, virtual, like Ready Player One level virtual reality would be great, but who knows how far off we are from that, never mind when it would become affordable. So, yeah. How long have we been VTubing? Like 2 years now? Technically. If we're talking about time past, it's been 2 years. If we're talking about time that I've been doing it, it's like, I think it averages out to like a year and a half, maybe? So I had like a 3 to 4 month break when my PC shit itself and I couldn't do anything. And then there was like the month-long or like 2-month-long mental health break or whatever. We'll say like a year and a half is technically doing it, but I guess technically, if you want to get even more technical, as far as like doing something besides just streaming, not very long. Because I tried doing too many things. I tried doing too much at once. When I should have just tried to do like a video a week, which is what I'm doing now. It's except also kind of not. It's done when it's done, I guess. So like give or take a year and a half. Well, like a year and 8 months. So basically 2 years. Round it up. We're back to 2 years. That was thank you. Autism and ADHD, truly, that's that was all necessary information. You had to know it. You had to know it. You don't understand context. Anyway. Yeah. So all these was interesting. I'd hate to be monologuing to myself and it not be interesting at the very least. Hey, remember, it could always suck more. Thanks, brain. Anyway, with that visual out of the way. So yeah, it probably would have gone better. You know, as much as YouTube wasn't great when I started, I think if I transitioned to YouTube over Twitch earlier, it would have gone slightly better, but then the main reason that I use YouTube now is because I can do better quality than Twitch, and I couldn't do that then, so probably not. Basically, if I just hadn't pushed too hard, then I would have probably been doing better, but you know, you need some measure of consistency. Disappearing for months, it's not great. I hate the shotguns. Nerf guns when I use them, but snipers when other people use them. See, I was molded by the minds of Bad Company 2. And let me tell you, people complaining about shotguns being snipers takes on a whole new meaning when you play Bad Company 2. That's yeah, you think like across, like from the doors of Dust 2 to the top of that section of the ramp is bad? Try across the entire map and guaranteed multiple times one shot. That's bad. Like, literally better snipers than snipers were. Unironically, better snipers than snipers were, and you could use them at close range. So silly. I miss it so much. It was fun. It wasn't balanced, but it was fun. AD bouncing. I couldn't imagine why. I mean, they do such a great job. But yeah, that's true about the content thing as well. Which I knew and still ignored because that's just how my brain works. 90% of the time, I know what I should do and I know what I shouldn't do. But my brain's like, well, but what if it does work? What if it does? Like, it's probably better, but what if it does work? Huh? Yeah, it could, technically. But, you know, it's... Here we are now. Forced to take it much slower than I would like, or even probably could have taken it then. Holy points, my god. But yeah, KISS is a rule for a reason. Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, yeah. It's a good rule. Everyone should live by this rule. Everything will be better. Not everything. Lots of things would be better. But alas. Will not be Battlefield stream one day when you have enough viewers. Never say never. Part of the problem is there's been multiple times I've tried doing stuff like, not even just like viewer games, which I've admittedly done less of, so not really. I think the only thing I have that worked for that is War Thunder. And I'm just awkward in general, so. But y'all are shy. Generally speaking. Most of you are shy. And never meet your fans. It's funny how that statement can also go both ways a lot of the time. It is funny though, a lot of VTubers tend to care way more about their fans than a lot of other content creators do. Or I don't know why. Or maybe just because I'm more aware of VTuber side of things. It's interesting. But yeah, anyway, back to us. Y'all are shy. Because I've tried doing multiple things like polls or whatever. It's just, I know, it makes sense statistically speaking, because like, even with larger content creators, most of the people who are watching, like, even on videos, don't comment. Right? Like, there's the number of people who watch, and then there's the number of people who like the video, and then there's the number of people who comment on the video. And the last one is a lot smaller than the other two numbers by a large margin. Which makes sense. I mean, I basically never type in Twitch chats, so I really can't talk. But it is an interesting statistic. Not shy. Well, maybe a little. That's what I thought. You're here after all. I know what I attract. I know, yeah. I don't know why, again, but... Oh boy. It's better than the opposite. Yeah. There's plenty of people end up with incredibly toxic and very loud fan bases. So be careful what you wish for, people. You never know. You try to be responsive. Probably isn't what I keep saying, but I do mean it's like I don't want you guys to force yourself to do anything. Like, you don't... Yes, it is easier from my perspective with stuff to play off of, but I also wouldn't want you guys to be uncomfortable and force yourself to do something you're not comfortable with, if that makes sense. So, it is what it is. It'll happen when it happens. And if y'all feel like talking, that's good. And if you guys don't, that's fine too. It just means that I get to work in my monologue. The good thing I've been training that year for multiple decades now. Yeah, it would have been awkward otherwise. It's better when someone is responsive. Depends on the stream. Because like if you're talking about a game... Nope, it smells like okay. If you're talking about like a gameplay stream, I guess it's still true. It's just the type of responsive looks different, I guess. It's like there'll be a lot of gameplay streams where people, like you see when people aren't typing a lot, but then something will happen that's exciting and they'll like all pop off. And then there's other streams where there's like a... What's the word? I was gonna say coherent line of conversation, but that doesn't make any sense. More consistent typing is like between chatters or whatever, which is also a thing. I'm not entirely sure how that dynamic works, because that feels weird to me. And like, as the streamer, I really wouldn't... Like, what's the etiquette to that then? Is it rude to butt in? And like, mention it or something you read? Or is like, get expected? I don't really know. It's just weird to my brain. And then I feel bad. But anyway, hasn't been a problem yet. Well, actually, that's not true. That was one time. But anyway, it's usually not a problem. The streamer is always right. My ego. You can't beat it. I'm fully aware there are times where I am prone to trying to show off at times. This is the thing I learned as a kid, where the one specific instance that would live with me forever was, like I've mentioned, playing hockey since like 10 years old. And I'll always remember this one specific instance where I had the perfect opportunity to score a goal because the goalie just made a save and the puck was literally just sitting on the goal line, and I had literally eternities. It's probably like a second or two, realistically, but brain speed dilation, weird things anyway. And my stupid brain's like, what if we just waited to the last second to make it more dramatic, and then ended up not scoring because the goalie recovered? Take your chances. Just take your chances, was the thing learned there. And I will never forget that. Because 90% of the time, if you don't take your chance and you try and showboat, you will be left looking like a complete idiot. Just guaranteed. I mean, it's like I say, the number one cause of death in video games is being an asshole or trying to show off. Yeah, it's true. Think about it. How many times has someone tried to get a knife kill in like CS or something, and then it backfired? Just take the opportunity. Just take it. Take the win. I don't know if it's I don't know. Like, you know, I guess recreational is technically not bad. I mean, that's legal in a lot of places these days. Not everywhere, but in a lot of places. Love showing off. Kind of same. Voice, please. I guess technically that's throat, please. Oh, water, my beloved. Not really. It's like whatever. We get on okay, but it's kind of boring, honestly. Yeah. It is, annoyingly enough, one of the things that leads to me doing worse in games is worrying about how it looks from the outside perspective. It's so annoying. Voice got higher pitch? Technically? It can... Okay, pitch is something that's really not difficult. I could probably go higher than this, but I do want to like be able to keep talking. Pitch isn't hard. Technically speaking, at least from a trans perspective, it's the balance, but it's... The technical term is resonance, but one that I found that works better is size and weight. I think. Is it weight? I think weight. But like a mix of those two is technically what's better, because like I mean there's plenty of women with low pitch voices and there's plenty of guys with high pitch voices. So, you know. For a frame of reference, I used to do a pretty convincing eagle screech, which I wouldn't want to try and do right now, because that has been literal years since I bothered trying to do that. But that and imitating baby crocodiles. That one was still fun. I don't remember why I started doing that, but I did. I did that a lot. I blame autism. I'll have to do a slightly more fun voice on command. See, the thing with voice training is, technically speaking, the same things that you would want to learn to modulate for like a singing voice, you'd just do that for a speaking voice. They're a little different, obviously, because singing voice for speaking voice is different. But regardless, it's doable. It's just not necessary. Most people default to thinking, more feminine, more high-pitched. And more high-pitched can work. But it's you gotta balance it out, otherwise it can also just sound not even remotely close. It's all about balance. It all comes back down to balance. So everyone, it's much the same as I say in a lot of video games. In terms of like, I don't know, CS rank or Valorant rank or whatever. Most people can do more than they think they can, but like they get it in their heads that they have to do it in a specific way, which doesn't work for them, and so then they can't do it. But if they did it their way, which is why one of my rules is do things my way, right? What is it? Have fun, be myself. Don't hesitate. Do things my way. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Don't force it. Yeah. That's generally what I've tried. I've been going by for like the last 6 months? Maybe a little longer, but like realistically, last 6 months. Since the beginning of the year. That's 7 months. Okay, cool. Anyway. Already have kind of high-pitched voice. Just want to do slightly more femme voice on command. I probably have a. I know I have a document somewhere for that. Where do I have that? I was gonna say it's no. I think I could literally just post that in chat. I need to find it though. Oh, where did I put those? I put this somewhere. Is this it? Yes. Okay. This is technically. I mean, okay, like with any tool, it's technically more towards brands, but if you want to do voice work, it's the same thing. It doesn't really matter gender-wise what you are. It'll work. It is not going to be quick though. By any means. Trust me, I am aware. More so than most. But well, okay, I don't actually know that's true. More so than a lot of people. But most of my problem is formed habits, less so than actual natural sound of my voice, which is, funnily enough, more feminine. But I'd also argue that making small changes is more difficult than large changes, because especially if you're talking about like, this is a better example. If you were trying to, say you're doing an exercise or whatever, if you were trying to tweak just slightly how you were lifting something or how you're executing it instead of like, oh, you're doing it completely wrong, and so then you need to completely change it. It's easier to make big changes than it is to make small, fine changes and whatnot. Scotty voice is pretty awesome. Oh boy, more compliments. I do horrible with compliments. Thank you. But I'm also incredibly biased on the subject for obvious reasons. Which doesn't help, but I'm getting there. Better sometimes than others. Which is usually down to how tense I am at the moment. Ow. Which would also be helped if I did more exercise and stretches. I say, I would just, yeah, okay, that posture is helping. As I like sit in my chair with my feet pushed into each other, not even like crisscross applesauce or whatever the heck term we're using for that now, but just like my feet together, which, if you don't know, is a really good hip stretch. Yeah, especially laying down. Apparently, don't hurt yourself. It's very okay. Generally speaking, for any stretching you need to do or want to do, you need to do like, keep in mind, it's really weird, but the left leg and whatnot goes up to like the right side and the right arm that's connected to, and then vice versa for the right leg and left arm. So you need to do stretches for like the whole thing, otherwise you get weird tension points. And it can just kind of make it worse. By kind of, I mean it can make it worse. But yeah, same idea as like not skipping leg day, I guess, technically. Pretty similar. Gotta do steroids and gym. Not a huge fan of like Chewbacca levels of body hair personally, so I'll probably skip steroids. I don't hate muscles, but I don't like over muscled any more than I would like Barbie figure. Oh look, we're back on topic of extremes. Hey, at least I'm consistent in that. I'm not in CS, but at least I'm consistent with that. Yeah. It's great. Oh. What's my phone battery at? 40%? Alright, we're going strong. Oh boy. Anyone else also like crack a knuckle or whatever, or like some random joint, and then like reflexively say ow even though it didn't hurt in the slightest? So I do that way too much. It is kind of ridiculous. Oh. I don't like cracking my knuckles, granted. I don't really do that. It's not a fan. But I found a human user. I've come to realize that's a fairly rare thing. Everyone just uses the MP9. I should try the UMP more. I think it's probably technically okay. So yeah, any kind of man, it's a reflex. Yeah, I blame video games. Because just that's the normal thing to do. If you're not a gamer, you wouldn't get it. But if you are, like you die, you say ow or ugh, you make some kind of death noise, right? Usually not moaning, but like, you know, hey, to each their own. Technically speaking, so it's very similar to anyway, not important. MP9 is the best gun right now. The UMP is terrible. Oh. Well, I'm more tempted to use the UMP, but like it's because I'm weird. Hey look, I am the type of person who I don't like when the characters that I like are OP and broken, and I will just not play them. And if I don't have other characters I like, then I won't really play the game. Because I like winning because I'm better. Can you tell that I have an ego? I like winning because I'm better, not because, like, the gun is OP or whatever. Ignore that technically you're both using the same gun probably if it's OP, so then like it's still a skill thing, but you know. Brain things. Does everything get better? Yeah, that checks out. I was gonna say, it kind of has a slow fire rate. It doesn't do the best damage. It's not the most accurate. Damage drop-off I don't think is amazing either. And it has a small magazine. It is... What I need is a non-scope to deal. I need a Guardian in Counter-Strike. That's what I need. I need the Guardian in Counter-Strike. If you don't know what the Guardian is, it's a DMR-type rifle in Valorant that sits a bit below like the Phantom and Vandal, which I honestly think that Valorant handles the whole gun situation better, but that's neither here nor there. But it doesn't have a scope, so it's not like the auto sniper. It would be a really, really cool thing to have in CSD. I would really, really, really want to have that, partially because literally just knowing that I can spray and I have that much follow-up on my shots makes me so unbelievably freaking lazy, and it costs me so many gunfights. Simply because I'm like, oh, it's fine. I have that. It's like, oh, and then I just lose the gunfight. Oh. It was totally winnable and I should have won. But I just lose it because I check out. Yeah. It's a theme. It's a theme. 100%. Valve can't balance. Yeah. I've noticed that. They have interesting ideas on balance, shall we say. Unique, even. It's why I don't play Dota. And it's one of the biggest issues that I have in Deadlock, because why the hell can you still parry the turret? The Guardian, technically. Why can you still parry the Guardian, Valve? Why is that a thing? Why is that a game mechanic? Like in League, the turret is just there and it does damage, and there's some characters that have abilities to like reset turret aggro, but they're rare. But in Valve's, in Deadlock, you can just mosey up to the turret, which barely does any damage in the first place, mind you, and then parry a basic game mechanic, right? And then it stuns the Guardian, who then doesn't damage you, and I think even does less damage after it gets parried. And so you just... Guardians are the most fake safe zone in the history of gaming. It's infuriating. It's also horrible for new players. It is like, there's plenty of characters in Deadlock that are already frustrating. But then you like literally just get unlucky, die once, or you overcommit and okay, you die. And after that point, your Guardian is just a guaranteed lost. You can't defend it, and they can literally just kill you under it on repeat. I know someone else that I played with before said that you're like, it's an intended game mechanic that you lose the Guardian, that it dies. You're supposed to protect it, but I think that is the dumbest way to balance anything ever. It's so counterintuitive. The turret, like, you want to defend it, sure, but like, 2 waves will one-shot a walker who's the second tier of tower. 2 waves. 2. Like, yeah, you want to be there to defend against the wave anyway, because you want the... We're going to call it gold, because I don't remember what the hell to call it in Deadlock. But it shouldn't one-shot the walker because, like, you got distracted, or you were, like, got caught up in a fight or something, and now it's just dead. They really need to shift where things are. I know that... What's it called? Their MOBA. Their other MOBA. Dota 2 is balanced around everything being broken, right? Which is, newsflash, probably part of the reason why it's less popular than League of Legends. It's very unforgiving to new players, besides the toxic fan base. But it falls apart even more in a 3D environment. Because, like, in top down, you can, okay, you can just kind of run for them and it's, fine. But Deadlock is so movement-based, and everyone has so much movement, and annoyingly, every single character is based around mouse oneing, right? So shooting, because I get it, it's a shooter, MOBA. Cool idea. Can we maybe get some actual mage characters in the game that are based around abilities? Okay, because literally everything is based around shooting. Literally everything. Abilities will do damage, right? But it's only usually activated by shooting them. There's some exceptions, but then those exceptions are, funnily enough, also mouse one heroes like Venator, who in League would be an ADC. You are meant to shoot. But Venator is weird in that he's a strong early, mid, and late game. And he has self-peel. And innate armor pen. And he has his traps, which multiply his damage if you step into one of them. Which are like a bear trap thing. If you've ever played Dead by Daylight, my condolences, it's like the trapper's traps. Like this. Just bonkers character kit. There's literally everything you could ever want as a character who just wants to shoot stuff, but whatever. Also, keep in mind that his peel stuns you if you get knocked into a wall, so you can't even get close to him, otherwise you just die. It's whatever. Entirely unrelated. But yeah. Everything is based around shooting. Celeste, who's one of the newer additions, is based around shooting, because she needs to apply a debuff with her one ability, which she then gets on hit to every one of her shots afterwards. And her 3 just buffs the rest of her kit because it amps her spirit power, which is basically AP if you play League. And what's it called? Her 2 is a shield, which silences if they break it. Her shield silences the people around her if they break her shield, which they need to break to do damage to her. And basically everything in the game is close range damage. Right, not a lot of things do damage, especially with shooting from range. I don't know, Valve. I don't know. Just listening. Yeah, that's fair. Oh. One thing I've realized I'm gonna have to work on if I want to do ASMR is the laugh. It's a softer laugh. That's gonna be interesting. Ow. Okay. Oh. Fine, I wasn't using the kneecap anyway. It's chill. It's okay. Everything's fine. Anyway. So yeah, I hope that they work on balance and shifting things around. And maybe putting an actual mage-type character who's ability-based. Just ability-based. In the game. But, I swear, at times it feels like Riot, not Riot, Valve's bouncing team, it feels like they have ADHD, because they're hyper-focused on specific things, and they haven't yet broadened their horizons, which I'd very much like them to do. It is I know League it has its reputation, which is fairly well deserved. The game doesn't even have a functioning tutorial. Which is why literally for the longest time I was like, I should just make a tutorial, but I'm just not the type of content. Anyway, not that I haven't explained it multiple times. Not the point. It does, however, have over 150, probably 160 different characters, which means there is something for everyone. And they all do things in their own way that makes them different from the other characters. That is why I like League so much. Because it has, like, with some exceptions, like AP Cogma, because it's just toxic to everyone involved, they generally allow you to play the way you want to play. Whereas Valve likes to do the thing that I think is the dumbest thing a developer can do, which is enforce the way that the player has to play your game because you think it's the way that the game's supposed to be played because you made the game. Yes, you made the game. We're all very thankful. But we're the ones playing the game. There's not a plethora of third-person MOBA shooters out there either to pick from. So, to all the idiots who say, well, just play a different game, you're missing the point. There's a difference between asking for them to change everything into a different game and to make it so that more people can enjoy it in a way that doesn't negatively impact the experience for everyone else who already enjoys it. Just saying. Well, like sitting around and making money off Steam? Yeah, valid. That's why we will never have. What is it? Oh no. Oh no. Oh, the third in the series. I name what's the name of the game is of? Half-Life 3. There we go. At least they're passionate about what they develop, which is nice. That is nice. At least they're not giga-rich EA, but they also wouldn't be giga-rich EA if they didn't care about what they develop. So, catch-22. EA, can we please get a good soccer game, by the way? Can we please get a good soccer game? Okay. I was thinking about this the other day. And if any of you, and by any of you, I don't even know how many of you there are, because I'm very specifically not looking, but if any of you have played the older FIFAs, by older I mean like 2010 onwards, I don't remember what it was, but they did not the claim. They did like the special Be Pro mode where like you were following the career of the one character. I forgot the name as soon as I thought of it. Is the something or other. Some dramatic name. But that was, they never did that again. They didn't even finish that. They left it open-ended on the end, and you did never again. Why? It was fun. And that's coming from the person who usually doesn't play, male characters, which is part of why I didn't play more of those games, because, like, I get you. There's two separate leagues in soccer, right? Like, you don't have women in the men's league. But, like, the thing I never understood is it's a video game. Why not just allow that to be a thing? You're creating a character anyway. Who cares? It's a visual aesthetic. I don't know. Maybe I'd say it was maybe some backwards thing in the deal with FIFA in terms of like being able to use the FIFA name, which they don't have anymore, by the way. And they still don't have that. So, who knows? Pixel Flying Sports Games is good again. You're probably right. I mean, Rematch is supposedly decent, but I haven't checked on it in a while. And even then, I preferred... Was it Fez? It's not Fez. Konami's version of soccer, right? Their soccer game. I preferred that to FIFA's. Well, to FIFA, right? EA's. Because it was a little more grounded. And Rematch seems very much heavily arcadey. My brain doesn't do arcade physics very well. So, yeah. But I do miss them. I do miss them a lot. There hasn't been a good hockey game in actual centuries, I swear. Not literally, but you know what I mean. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Yeah, I don't know. But at some point, hopefully. I can dream at the very least, even if there probably never will be. To a lot. Yeah, I'll just fund my own and code it. I suck at typing, by the way. It's kind of an integral part of coding. So I won't be doing that. But I would like someone to. It'd be really cool. She'll take over EA. God, no. That is so much work would need to be done. That is a job. WJ, for potentially all capital letters, job. To fix EA. Do some Naruto run. Yeah, why was that even a thing, by the way? Why was that a thing? Hey guys, let's go raid Area 51. The extremely secretive, classified military base. Nothing could possibly go wrong if we do this. Yes. It'll be fine. Probably with a caption of when Reddit just meet in real life or something like that. I don't know. But somehow didn't end entirely horribly. They didn't actually try and breach the perimeter either, otherwise it would have. Yeah, I don't. Like, look. I think at this point, we're advanced enough as a society, a civilization, right, to acknowledge that the statistical chance that humans is the only sentient and advanced life in the galaxy, never mind the universe, is basically zero. Yes, there's a very specific series of circumstances and stuff that had to go together to, like, create life, never mind humanity. How many freaking planets are there out there? And that's even just within, like, the general range of if you go in the Goldilocks zone. And ignore that, technically speaking, there could be life that evolved to live in a, whatever you want to call a zone outside of that. There's so many possibilities. Just wanted to send aliens back into space. It's speciesism. People would try that. They would so try that. They would. They 100% would. What's that? A species that is way more advanced than we are with better technology that could probably steamroll us? Get off our planet, nerd! We don't want you here. How are you gonna make them do that, by the way? I'm waiting for the explanation of how you're going to force them off the planet. Send them back to their planet. I can hear the redneck hillbilly accent. And sorry to all of the... Yes, stereotype. Do less building of the stereotype into being true, please. By all means. Okay? Because speaking as someone who is a quarter Thai, there's plenty of Asians that are bad at driving. Asterisks, it's because the rules are different, so by American standards, they're bad at driving because... Well, I mean, I've never seen 5 people on a moped since I saw it in Thailand, but props, like they did it. They made it work somehow. I didn't see them crash. It's definitely an interesting sight, but it takes a special level of talent and coordination and teamwork to, you know, have 5 people simultaneously on a moped while driving at speed in city traffic, which, considering one of the times when we were driving around, and by driving around I mean getting driven around because my grandmother's Thai, she knows she has family there, obviously. Although we rented a van? Yeah, we rented a van. There was someone who's just like, actually, no, I want to go the other way down a one-way street. I don't need to explain how that doesn't work so well. They didn't care, obviously. It's interesting. Other thing I will note is that the whole driving thing works more on the rule of the sea, which, if you don't know that, means that the biggest thing has right of way. And if you want to complain about it, that's too bad. They're not going to care. You'll just get rid of it. Just don't be in the way, nerd, I guess. Don't know. But yeah, aliens exist, obviously. Don't know about Martians, but somewhere out there, they're there, and there's, without getting conspiracy theory, been a lot of things that are rather unexplainable otherwise, unless some random subset of humanity has jumped light years ahead in technology and also stayed hidden from everyone's cell phone and camera for the past millennia. At some point, Occam's razor just comes in, okay? It's the simplest explanation. Why are people so invested in it not being true? Don't know. But they are. Just like they are with other things. Of a more... How shall we say this? Politically mainstream view. In terms of topic. Yep. See, it's funny because that's really vague and it could mean many different things, but I'm not going to specify. Try about it. Oh, my posture is cooked again. I need a standing desk. That's what I need. I need a standing desk. And, well, maybe I should shoot for desk first. Maybe I should pass that first hurdle, having an actual desk that isn't a butcher block kitchen table, before going to standing desk. But I mean, at the same time, if I'm going to upgrade one, to just go straight to standing desk. I don't know. Maybe I will cry. I mean, crying is good for the soul. So, if you need to, then I'm not gonna judge you. Me personally, kind of suck at it, but that's a partial pride thing. Sometimes you do just need a good cry, though. Ow. I was using that spine, actually. Oh, it does feel better, though. Ooh. I guess I don't like crack my fingers, but I do. And a lot of wearing pops from spine and shoulders. I should really do more exercise in terms of just moving around even. Yeah. If you don't know, your body kind of works in a move it or lose it sort of system, so even if you're just doing chair exercises, at least do something. And like I mentioned last time, apparently 30 push-ups a day is like good for your heart health and cardiovascular health, which I would have thought that is too few push-ups to really make a difference, but apparently it does, so go figure. I'll take the win. Love bed rotting. Ugh, I hate it. But then also depression, though sometimes it's like getting out of bed, it's like, what's the motivation? Because I don't have an actual reason 90% of the time that I have to get out of bed until I need to feed the dogs. That's about it. Look, I'm just thinking of future you. Future you would really appreciate some exercise. Just like, body weight exercises, some stretching, you'll feel better. I speak from personal experience in a do what I say, not what I do sort of scenario. Or do more than I do. You know what I mean. My posture truly is horrible, though, ironically. It's so bad. Oh. There is much shrimping. Much shrimping. I guess I get away with it because I'm not short. By any means. I don't say I'm the tallest, but maybe 5. Basically 5'11", so I guess technically. Which is funny, because I guess I looked out figure-wise, yeah. Neither curvy nor beanpole, so I guess I'll take it. I think I may have depression, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I think most people these days have some measure of depression. I think that's just a part of life in these days. I blame mostly media, social and otherwise, but I tried to be positive. It's a wheel. I'm like strangely somewhere between optimistic and like a realist. And that I tend to like try and aim for the best, but also kind of cynical sometimes. It's very odd. It's not really central so much as like literally doing both. Don't ask how that works. I don't know. It just does. It just works, okay? It just works. That's not hard. Isn't it really very cynical though? There's nothing technically wrong with it. Well, no, there's nothing wrong with a bit of cynicism. Can you guess what I'm gonna say next? Can you guess? That's entirely more smug smile than I meant to go for, but that's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. I kind of wish I could mess with the weight, because like, I'm kind of like zippy. A little bit, but maybe certain other physics as well that aren't quite as... Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'd say ignore me, but that kind of defeats the purpose of the stream now. Oh yeah. Elder Scrolls... I almost said Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls 6 when? When, Todd Howard? When is that gonna come? No clue. Before or after God, is 6? Is 6 just cursed? Is the number 6 in a series just cursed? Because like a GTA 6 takes it to a whole nother level, of course. But Elder Scrolls 6? It's been a while since Skyrim, okay? I know they had the whole... I'm not even religious. I blame going to catechism when I was younger, forcefully. Anyway, 76? Fallout 76? 6? Is it a coincidence? I think not. I think this is all connected. This is the one horrible company I can't help myself for loving. So real. So real. So brave as well. Other people might be afraid to say it because, like, they're not these days. But, look. Elder Scrolls series. Fallout series. Some great games. Just... No, it's just so sad. The man has his job for a reason. Fair play, Todd Howard. Fair play. You sold a lot of people on Starfield who were very disappointed, but you did sell them on it. I don't know how is Starfield doing. Holy racism in CS2. It's not very 2026 game. You should tell them. Well, maybe not. They'll just slurs, but you know. Another thing Riot does better than Valve: reporting. Reporting someone actually matters. Yeah. Or at the very least, you can know that it matters because they tell you if action is taken. Which, don't get me wrong, as someone who's like questions over when I take a screenshot of the after game results or whatever, like, I block everyone's names out. But then it's like, either block all of them out, because if you look up mine, you can look at the game, and honestly, you could look up mine anyway, because I've played on stream. So, it's not hidden information. It's just public. But what was I? Oh god, what was I? Onion. What was I talking about? Well, this is awkward. Hmm. Yeah, I don't remember. Whatever. Moving on. Yeah, CS2. It doesn't. Hold on. Actually, not as much as you'd think. At least as purported, I guess. There's plenty though. Plenty of bigots, and it still a game where everyone assumes that the people playing it are a guy. So despite having the username the Vexing Vixen, which, I mean, as far as sexuality goes, I prefer women, I guess, but like, first off, it's 2026, so like, lol. But two, when you kill someone, like by ratting, and their response in chat is, I bet you like men, I can't help but like question the average IQ of CS2 players, because I look at my username, right, which is Vexing Vixen, with some random, like, technically she's like a dog girl or cat girl, I'm not even sure, it's not even Fox, but girl, like, anime profile pic. Are we not aware what Vixen means these days? Because I tried playing, what was it? Blue something other, the MMO that released last year, I think. I don't remember what it was, but whatever. Point is, I stopped playing it. Because they literally made me change my name, because Vixen used to, if, you know, in the 1900s, refer to, like, mean a whore. It was, that's something you'd say to a whore. We're not in that century anymore, but you know, like, okay. Fox means female fox, by the way. Scientifically means female fox. Also, I don't know. I played a decent amount, but we usually are in like a 3 or... it's either doing sometimes with Flubber, or it's like a 3 stack or 4 stack, but never really a 5 stack, which is kind of depressing, but you know, is what it is. But there's a chance. There's a non-zero chance. I don't know. I wouldn't know because I don't remember usernames or names. Sometimes faces, but I usually remember faces. But yeah. Heck, I would have made... Maybe? I don't really have any way to check that, I don't think, unfortunately. Maybe if I look it up on like... what is that site called? Stat Tracker. No, there's Leadify, of course, we gotta make an account for Leadify, and then there's... like, it's the same one that I use for Valorant. I don't remember the company name, but like... if you look FCS Tracker, probably it'll come up. And technically, you can look through all the games there, I think, but I don't know how far back they go, and I don't know what that would have been. I don't know if you can look up by username. Like who you've played against. I know for League, like, they have recent people you've played against, but did a lot of CS2. So potentially, but also... name does sound familiar though. I don't know. But I'm, I'd say getting off topic, but I didn't have a topic. So if I did have a topic, I don't remember the topic. Welcome to ADHD. I need to recenter this. I'm like not really looking directly center in the screen. Okay, there we go. Would be kind of funny though. Small world. Hopefully didn't inch you. Because as I said, slightly inconsistent. Which is, I guess technically, the biggest thing when it comes to performance and stuff like CS is just confidence. Too much and you're going to run it down, too little and you're going to miss shots you'd otherwise land because you second guess. Which I do a lot of the time. Said crazy things in CS chat. Not too crazy though, no racism. Oh, internet. I feel like it was just kind of the internet. You know, that specific one was from yesterday though. And I know that that wasn't the case. So I would have remembered that far back. Okay. Memory isn't that bad. You know, that was specifically against someone on cash because they smoked off the right side of mid. And I just waited there because why the hell not? It's just funny to me that because like the name Vexing Vixen and like their idea of an insult was you like men. The average woman does like men, so yeah, like I don't hate men. Mm-hmm. Don't love either as far as outside of things goes, but you know, it's whatever. It's just funny. Oh, it's kind of up there with like the people who die to you and then call you bad. I've never gotten that one. I've never gotten that one because you died to them. So if they're bad and you died to them, that makes you worse. That's a fairly typical thing, but it's just kind of funny to me because it's like that doesn't. But yeah, well, people that they like men. It's honestly just, it's more weird than it is insulting. Like it depends, because if you're really aggressive about it, it can come off as more insulting. But it's like as a random comment, I don't know. There's a lot. Language is kind of interesting like that. There's a lot of different ways to interpret pretty much everything. I can off rip think of like three different, well, at least two different ways. No, three different ways. There's like being homophobic, and then there's just implying that they are less active sexually in terms of, you know, during the moment. Maybe about them. But, and then it's just like, it's a funny comment. Who knows? Sounds like a funny. Yeah, exactly. Casual. Some people take things too seriously in terms of casual. Valid. Which type of bottom are you talking about there? Because, like, I mean, both are true. Just for clarification's sake. Hmm. I don't know if I want to say that actually, Brain. I don't think I will. I don't need to attempt YouTube's AI moderation more than I already do, thank you. Even if it technically should be fine. It'll just be algorithmized in terms of who it puts. Yeah, could be an interesting experiment, but I think I'll pass. Oof. The one you were thinking. But which one was I thinking? Because you have bottoms like literally everyone's got one. And then you have bottoms like everyone wishes they had one. You know, I'm just saying. Maybe not everyone. I mean, it's kind of an investment, technically, if you look at it from a Dom perspective, but this is gonna help the whole centrist thing, but technically I'm neither, so yeah, there you go. Yes. Yeah, there you go. I've mentioned being contrarian by nature, because I am. Except for when I'm not, which is arguably the most contrarian way to be a contrarian. Hmm. I could stop this at any time. This being twirling the... should actually probably stop twirling my headphone cable. I've got enough problems without having to try and replace that. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably not great. I'm just gonna not do that. Okay, moving on. I guess that is the other reason why I was hesitant about doing ASMR, because a lot of people tend to, well, like, actually I mentioned that before already, earlier. A lot of people view it as inherently erotic, and like, I'm not super shy about that stuff. I'm a little shy, okay. But I don't think I'd really want to do anything overtly erotic. It's not really my speed. Like, I'm not about to become Project Melody, for instance. But I respect the hell out of her. Because I sure as hell couldn't do that. People sexualize it too much. They do. It's because, like, part of it is because it is supposed to get a response that feels good, but it's different. Like, it's not inherently sexual. Like, personally, I'll get, like, because it's, I forget exactly what ASMR stands for, but it's something auditory response, which basically just means tinkles, really, that it comes down to. And I'll get those a lot of the time, even before I knew what ASMR was, just from like people talking randomly. It just feels good and relaxing. But to each their own. I'm also not about to watch or record mukbang videos, so not my speed. Or girlfriend replace. That's also not my speed. First of all, I have no experience. Second, have I covered being socially awkward? I feel like I should have covered being socially awkward. I'm socially awkward. Which arguably would do even better in that frame of reference. Okay, so that's not helping. Forcible subject change activated. Socially awkward isn't bad. No, it is just inconvenient at times. And by at times, I mean any time that involves talking to people. That, no, even sort of like on stream. I've been getting better about that. But part of the like whole being one downside of being generally aware of how people react to stuff is not going out of my way to not want to do things that definitely wouldn't, but that also isn't something that I wouldn't normally do. Right? I don't know if I'd call myself a people pleaser. I definitely prefer making people laugh to belittling them. But my sense of humor is also incredibly snarky and, well, not always super pleasant to the person who's directed at. I'm aware. So is my one friend who was unfortunate enough to make an offhand comment about 9mm. No. It said something else, and then my response was they couldn't pleasure a 9mm. I forget what they said. But yeah, snark. I don't mean like 90% of what I say. But funny is funny. Obvious topics you can't touch on. But funny comment is funny comment. But not everyone has the same measure of... I guess just a lot of people lack confidence. And so they don't like being poked about stuff. Which I guess fair. No one likes being wrong. I really don't like being wrong. But mostly admit. Maybe not like overtly outright admit. Okay. I have been called tsundere multiple times. I can't argue this super well. Which personally I would say would open me up more to the not tsundere side of things, but then there's also just how they have acting and yeah, okay. That's fair. I see it. Moderately prideful. Yeah. So I don't like being wrong. No, don't. Stop playing with the cord. I need a fidget spinner or something. Yeah. To watch anime. See, the reason I don't watch anime, besides being broke, is that I really, really, really don't like cringy, awkward situations. And they purposely put a lot of like really awkward situations in anime. And okay, I'm not referring to myself. I'm saying that I've been called that by people who maybe may or not watch anime on a more regular basis. Just technically speaking. What was I saying? Right. Considering like even in normal TV during awkward situations, I would much rather bury my face into like a pillow or a couch cushion and just not watch because it's just really awkward to watch. And I don't like awkward situations. Oh, not my favorite. Yeah, most people know they hide from scary scenes. I mean, I do that too, but no, I just hide from awkward conversations and situations. And avoid anime because of it. Yeah. Even personally preferring a more animated aesthetic, I know, that's... I didn't say it made entire sense, alright? It's just, it is what it is. Alright? Yeah. Conversation is scarier than scary movies. Yeah, I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that. Most scary movies are just cheap jump scares, so you know. Well, they also can't like directly reference you. I am out of water. It's probably a sign. No battery lives. 23. Yeah, okay, that doesn't back the side. Brain. Brain, I really need you to like pull back whatever the topic was a second ago. Oh, right. Movies can't judge you for what you say. Whoever you're talking to in a conversation can definitely do that. So I feel like that's entirely valid. And I generally act like that most of the time, so I really can't say anything against. I'm many things, but I'm not a hypocrite. Okay. If nothing else, I'm not a hypocrite. Yeah. But I do think I'm gonna have to wrap it up there because my phone is starting to get rather low in battery. And I don't like taking it below 20% just because battery life wise, it's not the healthiest for it, and I kind of need it to last. So, yeah. Zero concerns about that. Yeah, zero concerns. Don't at all feel it a timer at times. Nope. No rush. Just good, because I don't get to rush. Anyway. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. And I don't really have a schedule per se. I usually try and show up on Fridays, but it's also a summer, so it's hot regularly, and I don't have AC, and PC warm, room warm, unhappy fox. Okay, easy. So if you do want to know when I stream, bye East Coasty. Then I'd recommend clicking below and joining the Discord, which don't expect a lot of conversation unless you're going to start it. But you will get notifications when I go live, so you got that going for you. Yeah. You can't see me saluting, but I'm doing. Anyway, NFL time to have show so much. Yeah, because I also revamped the rules, so if you click on the streaming when you actually get YouTube, well, the stream notifications, instead of just when I put on videos up on YouTube. Anyway, I forget nothing. Don't worry about it. Knock the job out of the park. I believe in you. I'll see you guys next time. Later.